Hello and welcome to an exclusive update and roundup of what's been happening in the Dialog Rugby A-Division League. We're at this picturesque racecourse grounds. The weather is not so great, but the ground still looks fantastic. And we're here in the pavilion where the regiments of the Sri Lanka Army are clearly having a crib competition. And there's some amazing work that's been going on behind the scenes to get these magnificent cribs up for you. So if you're not doing anything, come over in the next couple of days and just have a look at some of the amazing creations that the regiments of the Sri Lanka Army have come up with. You can't fault these soldiers for their creativity, but what was lacking on the field was a little bit of creativity for Havelocks in the second half of their game against Navy, and that was the blockbuster game. That was the game that was billed to be the real cracker on the Saturday evening. It was under lights at the Havelock Park, 6 o'clock, and that made a little bit of a difference because Navy were able to last the game. They didn't have the fitness issues that they seem to have had in the last 20 minutes of games previously. And that was something that really played into their hands. Also, the weather was probably worse than this actually on the day that the game was played, and although the rain did let up for the duration of the match, it was a really soggy underfoot condition that both these teams had to fight in, and that was the problem as well for Havelocks because they couldn't move the ball as well as they would have liked to have done to get away from the big Navy forwards. And this really experienced Navy pack, guys like Terence Henry were really manning up in front, guys like Sajid Saranga, also Kalana Amarasinghe. You could see Coach Leonard De Silva had picked their biggest front five to compete against the Havelocks, and that really paid dividends for them because the battle was won on the ground. For me, the man of the match was Danushka Pereira. He was absolutely outstanding in the breakdown. He made some great hits on the Havelocks ball carriers as well, and he really turned the ball over, slowed it down for the Havies as well. And Havelocks, who started really well, went into a 10 points to nil lead early on thanks to points from Dulaj Pereira with a goal and a penalty, but unfortunately that was pretty much all they could string together in that first half. And although they were ahead 10 points to nil, they conceded towards the end of that half and they went in with only a 3-point lead at halftime. Navy came back and they tightened up the game, and this was what I would term an ugly win for the Navy, but that's what champion sides do. That's what Manchester United used to do when they were at the top of their game. They used to just somehow manufacture goals from a scrappy ball inside the box. Somebody would poke it home and they would win the game. And that's exactly what Navy did to show that they are still title contenders. They managed to make it narrower. They make the game a lot narrower and make it hard for Havelocks to compete in the manner that they had in the first half. And unfortunately for Coach Glenn Christini, I think the problem for him was that the halfback combination of Kavinda De Costa and Dulaj Pereira, who show a lot of promise, who will probably be the halves combination for Sri Lanka in the years going forward, did not have the experience to combat that game that Navy threw at them in the second half. Navy had some superb reserves on the bench as well. Joeli Lutumailangi went off and it was Leo Naikasa who came on, and he made a telling play. As soon as he came on, he turned the ball over in defense and ran it about 40 meters up the field, won a penalty and took Navy down about 80 meters into Havelock's territory, which turned over what could have been a 7-pointer to the other end for Havelocks. And from that point, they were demoralized, and the halves couldn't just get them some go-forward ball. They couldn't play the slick rugby they were playing in the first 15 minutes of the game, and that really was a problem for Havelocks because they couldn't adapt to the ugly game that Navy were throwing at them. Navy were really going at them in the breakdown. They were keeping it close. They were keeping it tight. Guys like Henry, Amarasinghe, Sajid Saranga carrying the ball as well. Yoshita Rajapaksa and Danushka Pereira doing a lot in defense. And also Dean Warren, who came on as an early substitution for Eramasi Navari, did make a difference. Contrary to what we thought on the day, we thought Eramasi Navari might be the man for the conditions, but Dean Warren did make a lot of telling hits, carried the ball well and sucked in a lot of defenders to allow people to score. And it was actually when Danushka Ranjan, who was sent off for not rolling away in the tackle in the red zone, he was sent off, and it was that hole that Leo Naikasau punched through to score the try that really broke the back of the Havelocks resistance. A little bit of inexperience once again from the Havies. That close to the line, they really should have got a man out in the line, and they should have made sure that they covered the gap that Naikasau had, because they had 3-on-4 in the line. It was always going to be a score for the Navy team. So credit to the Navy team for letting their experience count, for showing that they're still title contenders despite that one loss that they have on their cards. So that's something that they're going to be very, very happy about, that they managed to come from behind and turn a game around. So that's what are we going to see from Navy in the new year? This was probably an indication of it. Good hard work from Lee Keegle as well in the center position, doing a lot of damage. So We also had another match which was CRNFC versus CHNFC, a traditional derby game, and that one was played on the Sunday. It was a classic game that was expected, but unfortunately, despite the fact that there were several players who had played for CRNFC last year on the CHNFC side, they couldn't prove the point that they came to Longdon Place to prove, and that was the story as far as CH were concerned. Just far too many errors on the day, and they lost by 33 points to 15. So that was something that CRNFC will take pride from the fact that they actually managed to score the bonus point against CHNFC. That was probably a bonus point that they were not completely sure of, but in the end they managed to score the bonus points. Once again, Robbie Malnick being outstanding in the first half for CRNFC, creating a lot of the good ball that they managed to score with as well in the first half of their play. But once again, Poppy Farrell also doing some really good work in the loose, but CHNFC rather conceding way too many penalties. Referee Clement Isaac was putting his long arm up against him several times in the first half as well. So when it finished, when he was 18 points to 7 in the first half, you knew that CH just didn't have the goods to come back in the second half. And CR have always been a quality second half team, so that was the story for them. They managed to score 15 more points for a 33 points to 15 win against their traditional rival CHNFC. But what CRNFC will be concerned about also is the lack of a place kicker. Nalin Kumara, who played on the wing, probably especially for his place kicking in the absence of Shanaka Kumara and also in the absence of Kanchana Ramanayaka, who didn't take the field on the day, and it was Amila Bandara who paired up with Robbie Malnick in the centres. So quite an injury hit side for CRNFC, and they were actually lucky to come away with such an emphatic win against CHNFC on the day, because Nalin Kumara kicked away a lot of points, and that's something that CR could rue, especially in close games. Our other two games over this weekend were the Hambantota Sharks, who played the Army, and that was an easy win for Army, who travelled all the way down to Beliatta by 38 points to 11. And Army, despite showing a lot of promise in the early parts of the season, especially when they beat Kandy, everybody expected great things from them, but they haven't shown up in the games that were close, especially in that match against Navy. Everyone expected them to run Navy close at least, or maybe even win that game, but unfortunately, despite having those big names in Rupeni Tautan Imbuka and Sanivilati Ramuai and Pio Tuai, they still haven't been able to combine as a team, and Army will be happy with that bonus point win against the Hambantota Sharks, but still not enough coming from them in the latter half of that first round. And then we also had a match between Police and Air Force, which was also one of the closer matches of the weekend. The Havelocks versus Navy match was very physically intense, but this was just as exciting, and it was a 3 tries to 4 tries affair, and Apisai Nagaliva being once again the difference between the two teams. And I think pound for pound, this guy is probably the best foreign player that we've seen on Sri Lankan soil for quite a while, and definitely this season. So Police have to be very thankful to him, but Police are also rallying around him and they're supporting him, and there are some good players running some good lines. Good to see Sudham Suryarachi, who played well for Isipatana this year as well, back in club rugby, and he's a guy to watch out for as well. He's been scoring quite a few tries thanks to the line breaks of Nangaliva. So that one finished 24 points to 19. Air Force are slowly getting used to the foreign players that they have imported, and they were so used to playing without them that now they have to get used to them a little bit as well. And the Air Force foreigners also, despite coming in only a couple of weeks ago, need time to adjust to the Sri Lankan game, acclimatise themselves, and that's something that they are slowly doing. So watch out for Air Force in the second round. Teams like Hambantota Sharks, teams like CHNFC, even teams like Army and CRNFC better look over their shoulders at this Air Force team, because it's not going to be an easy win as it was when Air Force did not have their foreign players. So that's about it for 2014. Into 2015, we're expecting some great action in the new year. Kandy Sports Club travel down to CHNFC, and that should be a bonus point win for Kandy, the way that CHNFC have been playing. Unfortunately, their error rate is just way too huge for them to make an impact if they don't change things around pretty quickly. Hambantota Sharks will take on Havelocks. CRNFC will take on Air Force in what could be a banana skin game for the CRNFC team. They really have to make sure they take that game very seriously, and in the match that is going to be probably the closest game, Police will take on Army, and it'll be good to see Apisai Nangaliva, one of the new breed of Fijian Flyers, against one of the older generation Fijian Flyers of Rupeni Tautan Imbuka and Sanivilati Ramuai. So that should be a good matchup in midfield between those two Fijian regions as well. So that's it from us for 2014 on ThePapare.com. Make sure you join us next year for 2015. Have a great Christmas and a superb New Year. We'll bring you all the rugby action in the new year when it comes around on ThePapare.com. Don't go anywhere.